There are new developments in the Boston Marathon bombing. The mother of suspect Tsarnaev says her son walked without a wheelchair last week. She says he claims both he and his dead brother are innocent. And the father of Ibrahim Todashev is lashing out at the FBI. He was being questioned by agents last week in Florida when he was shot and killed. Wyatt Andrews is in Washington with new questions this morning. Wyatt, good morning.
Good morning, Nora. Good morning, Charlie. The FBI has now launched an internal probe, formerly called a Shooting Incident Review Group, to investigate if this shooting was justified. Todashev's family is calling what happened an execution. We should caution you, we have blurred the images you are about to see, but you might find some of them to be graphic. At a press conference in Moscow, the father of 27-year-old Ibrahim Todashev held up autopsy photos of his son and accused the FBI of shooting his son at least 6 times, once in the back of the head. These are not FBI agents, he says. They are bandits. I can't call them anything else, and they must be tried. The FBI and Massachusetts State Police were in Todashev's home last week in Orlando to ask Todashev, an immigrant from Chechnya, about the alleged Boston Marathon bomber Tamerlan Tsarnaev. The two men had once trained together as fighters in the same Boston gym. Todashev was never connected to the bombing, but according to sources, he confessed to a separate triple homicide that he'd committed with Tsarnaev in Waltham, Massachusetts in 2011. Sources say one state policeman and one FBI agent were asking Todashev to sign a statement when he began a violent confrontation and the agent fired. Todashev's wife, Renee, says that still does not explain the apparent shot in the head.
If the way how they saying that he was protecting himself, there was a self-defense from the FBI agent, I don't see that being a self-defense. You would not shot him on the top of his head. That just cannot be true.
A law enforcement source familiar with this shooting has confirmed to CBS News the agent did fire his gun 6 times. But the source also says Todashev had attacked the agent with a table, thrown him into a wall, and was still moving forward with something in his hand as the agent kept shooting. The review group will now be asking if that account checks out and whether this was reasonable self-defense. Charlie and Nora.
Wyatt Andrews, thank you. Senior correspondent John Miller is a former assistant FBI director, joins us from Dallas. John, good morning. What more have you learned, John, about this?
A little more granularity on the details, Charlie. According to the people I've spoken to, what unfolded in that apartment, which happened in a matter of seconds, involved the questioning of Todashev. He was allegedly at that point writing out on a pad a confession to his involvement in the triple murder. There was the FBI agent and a state trooper from Massachusetts, and according to the people I've spoken to, it was the state trooper who noticed that Todashev was getting more and more agitated. And then, Charlie, he did something very interesting. Rather than alert the agent and tip off Todashev that they sensed something was about to happen, he texted the agent saying, "Be careful, I think this guy is becoming more agitated," or so. As the agent looked down at that text, that's when the table went over. Todashev came over the table, picked up apparently a metal broom handle or some object like that without a broom on it, and charged the agent. The agent was knocked back, came up with his gun, fired 2 or 3 times. Todashev came back at him, and he fired more times. The other, the Massachusetts state trooper, never even got his gun out because he said because of the tight space in the crossfire, it would have been too dangerous. So that is the details as they're coming together now. But that shooting review board will look at that story, interview the witnesses, and the FBI lab will do a separate probe to see if the forensics tell the same story before it ever goes to the review board.
If he was not armed, was that a reasonable use of force?
That is a judgment that shooting review board will make. It's made up of people from the Department of Justice, people from the Firearms and Tactics section, people who understand the FBI's legal policy. But I was trained in the FBI's policy on use of force. I carried a gun in the FBI, and what they told us was the standard is if you believe that you or your partner or somebody with you is going to be the victim of either serious bodily harm or possibly death, you have the right to use deadly physical force.
John, I want to get your take on another issue. The radical Islamist magazine Inspire is out. It was released yesterday. You've looked through it. Tell us what you think is significant about it, especially since you're there in Dallas with the police chiefs talking about new threats here in America.
Well, this was a bit of the buzz yesterday at this conference of the major city police chiefs and the top FBI officials. But really, the bottom line, Nora, is this issue of Inspire magazine is, if you will, a bit of a victory lap. They feature numerous articles and pictures on the Boston bombing. They feature articles and photos from the London beheading of the soldier. And their basic point actually echoes what New York Police Commissioner Ray Kelly told this group of police chiefs and FBI officials the other day here in Dallas, which is, this is the new model of terrorism. The independent operators who are reading into the al-Qaeda narrative online, getting their instructions actually right out of Inspire magazine on how to make the bomb, and they called it a perfect case for a low-cost investment, citing the Boston example.
John Miller, thank you.